Our moral standards of what is acceptable or unacceptable tends to come from our culture, from the reasoning that we have as to what should be allowed, what shouldn't be allowed, and it's not able to be formed or changed by particular bodies of authority. Now, we are living in a time when our moral standards have been lowered significantly in our culture and in the Christian church. In our culture, it seems like our standards of decency and propriety and respect and politeness and speech and decorum, these standards seem to have sunk to some very low levels, if you haven't noticed. In the church, sometimes taking our cues from the culture, our norms in the church about what is morally acceptable and unacceptable, they seem to have changed direction in the direction of making more things today acceptable than were before. And also, I think if you look at the church and talking about Christianity in general, that the standards of spirituality and the standards of devotion and the standards of discipleship, they seem to have been lowered, not by any body of authority, it seems, but just by some reasoning that seems to back the lower standards that we have come to accept. Now, to prove all that, I could cite many different kinds of statistics from many different sources, but I don't want to take the time to do that today because I don't think I really need to cite a lot of statistics. I think most of us, just looking no further than at ourselves, we can sense that our standards of morality and our standards of spirituality maybe are not what they once were. So my question this morning is, how did this happen? How did we see such a lowering of the bar, lowering the standards in our culture, our society, and even in the church? Well, I want to submit there are at least three reasons that we could look at today. One is we've stopped reading the Bible and we started looking to other sources to tell us what standards should be. And secondly, when we have taken the time to read the Bible, it seems like we haven't taken it literally. We haven't really taken it seriously for what the Bible actually says. And then the third thing I've noticed is that we compare ourselves among ourselves and we allow our collective experience to kind of determine what the standard should be. Now, I want to suggest that we are living in a time, and we are living through a time when our standards of spirituality really need to be raised. They really need to be raised. And the three ways I think we can raise them, number one, by returning to reading the Bible. By just reading the Bible more and looking less at other sources of information to determine what the standard should be. And then when we read the Bible, I think we really do need to take the Bible literally. What do you say? I mean, there are instances where the Bible should be taken metaphorically or symbolically. In prophecy, we have the different symbols. We don't take those literally. The parables of Jesus don't always have to be taken literally. There are certain metaphors. That verse that says, the trees of the field will clap their hands. Well, I don't want to take that literally, but that's kind of a metaphor. But unless there's a good reason to take it metaphorically or symbolically, then we ought to take the Bible just as it reads. And number three, we really need to stop comparing ourselves with ourselves and compare ourselves rather to the standard, which is Jesus Christ.